All right, we are live. Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining, and welcome Alex. Thanks for joining, or Alexander. I feel like we should start with the story of how we got connected. A week or two ago, Alexander made a demo, like this really cool design tool with Valtown, this like SVG animator. If you get a sec, Alexander, to pull it up and share your screen, I would love to show people that tweet. And you'll see in the replies to the tweet, everyone's like, "Where's the link? Where's the link? How can I play with this? How do I get access to it?" And Alexander was really pushing people to make it for themselves because he made it for himself in like 3 or 4 prompts in just like a very short amount of time. So maybe not, but I think for him it was easy. I tried to remake it, and I don't know, I spent maybe almost an hour, and mine wasn't as good as his. So I figured that we should get him on here to show everybody how he did it, how a real designer can prompt an LLM to make a beautiful design tool. So welcome, Alexander.
Hello. Yeah, Alex or Alexander works. Both are fine. Thank you so much for inviting me. Actually, that was, it's right. I didn't want to kind of leak, the prompt, because if I would share the first prompt, I think it didn't work as I expected it. And sharing 12 prompts and kind of sharing the whole conversation seems a little bit like vague. And I also know when someone shares original file with me or like prompt, I'm just like, I'll do it later. Like, I have time to this. So I feel like people would be more motivated and more like, to actually try rebuild it, because I was rebuilding it from someone else's work. Also, like I know some kind of, references, and I felt like, okay, I have to kind of really understand how to reach that desired effect. But yeah, let's play around and see how it goes. I'm originally from Ukraine, from Kyiv. I have a design studio. I've been designer my whole life, and I feel like it's my destiny now, like my curse to the end of the to the end of the life. I really love the profession. I feel like it's amazing in many senses, and I worked with a lot of like consumer products, many business products, and still very, very much enjoying it. Currently in London, just got back from New York City. Before that was in San Francisco, where I actually come in after jet lag. Like I woke up at 4 or 5 a.m. and I came up with this. So it was like literally one morning project that, and as usually on Twitter, the best viral tweets are happening when you're just like, I'll just, I'll post whatever, like no thinking. Those are usually becomes viral, not the ones that you intend to be viral,
Of course.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, maybe you could share a window on your computer, and we can go to the tweet, and then you could also go to the original inspiration for the design. All right.
So, okay, I think you see it right now. I open a couple of tabs here. So the tweet was like this, which
maybe
is basically...
zoom in one more time or 2 more times.
What do you mean?
It's just like Command plus to zoom in on your...
Oh, yeah. Okay. So the tweet was very simple, and it was like I woke up very early, and I was just bragging about how talented I am. And basically what I wanted to kind of share is like, oh, it's like so easy to build, this thing with the code editors. I feel like there are a couple of things that past taught me about it, specifically 3D design. You don't see 3D here, but there were a couple of concepts that I learned in 3D school, in 3D kind of courses, and during my thing that kind of inspired me to think about this generator in a more interesting way. So probably we can just jump in and, I don't know, explain how it works. One thing that I said, like, I remember that I saw this tweet with this kind of, with this pattern from Matteo.
Sorry, just zoom in a bit more.
Yeah, sorry.
You're great.
So I think what they did, I will restart the page so you would see how it appears. I felt like it deserves to be a code, not like a static image or not a GIF. And you can see that it has slightly different effects. But if you really zoom closely, you can see that there is like squares, the grid of squares. They had different gradient colors on top of it. They have appearing animation where they appear like, in random random places, and then they fill the whole shape. I had a slightly different idea. I kind of wanted to merge this and Siri type animation where it kind of, is just an always an orb, that's kind of always a spinning orb. So something that I did, let me come back to something that makes sense. So do you want me to go through like how I thought when I was building it, how I was thinking, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think, well, one idea is we could just start a new Townie chat and watch you build it from scratch, but
Okay.
or we could go through your existing. What do you think is better to go through
Uh,
your?
let's do a new one. Let's
Okay.
challenge me.
Um,
Should I create a script for this? Because I remember I was just pressing new, but I
no. So yeah, this is that. Maybe you could give us design feedback. So all the way on the left in that hamburger menu is where,
okay.
and then start a new chat. Yeah.
Okay, got it. So I think it took 12 messages back then, but I was making a lot of like changes, like more granular with time.
Yeah.
Okay, so how I'm thinking about it. So basically, first of all, I want to create a grid of rectangles, right? Because we need to animate something. I think there are two ways to do it. First one is like to define the exact number of, exact number of squares, or you can actually kind of generate them to fill the space. Generating to fill the space feels like more appropriate for this type of thing, but for me I was a little bit I wanted to cut the corners, and knowing that I would work with fixed amount of rectangles would make it a little bit easier to control the positions of the gradients and sliders and everything, and I would not deal with, for example, origin points, where do they start generating from and so on. So on Natio, you can actually see that whenever you load the page, they start appearing from whenever, like on very random points. And in my kind of thing, I was actually going almost always from the center, because it would be easier not to, overcomplicate things and, try to handle this kind of randomization of stuff. I also realized that it's probably requires some kind of randomized script, because like if I look at one square, for example, I would put mouse here, right? And I will see what kind of how the square reacts. I can see that it actually switches between multiple colors, but it also feels like there's multiple opacities behind it. So how I see it right now is that there's plain rows, saturated rows, plain rows again, plain red. It's kind of, it moves the gradient like this, rotation wise, clockwise, and it also like switches it with some kind of randomization to actually make this kind of more interesting pattern. I'm not sure if I want to get it into this complexity. I will probably try to rebuild whatever I had, which I was using a little bit more softer, way of dealing with rectangles. So let's try and building it from the scratch. So number one, I would probably ask it like, let's make a grid of squares sized 5 pixels each. And let's make 40 horizontally and 40 vertically. Let's specify, like, let's make number, like amount of. I usually try, I don't know if it's a bad practice for AI prompting or not, but I try to mention the bullet points like 1, 2, 3, because later I can really talk with AI in a way like, hey, you didn't make the 3, like just to come up with some kind of feedback to what they did wrong, or what kind of point I want to like more granularly change. Other thing that I did in my design, which I'm really grateful right now, is that every time I put some property, I always try to ask AI to generate a slider of customization. Why it is because it not only helps you to actually customize the final image, but it also really helps you to debug it very quickly. So you can see like where does it fail if I will move it like more and less. And I feel like it's again one of the things that I brought from 3D software, from 3D design. It's because whenever you kind of play with different kind of properties, you kind of sometimes you want to understand how it will look like just by dragging the slider, up and down. So I feel like again it kind of inspired me to use it in the same way. And so what I will write right now is like make the gap between squares 2 pixels and give me slider to change the gap from 0 pixel to 10 pixel with 1 pixel step. Then what should we do? Let me see what I'm thinking about it. So gap size. Okay, colors we will probably do later. Do you have any questions about it for now?
I don't.
Perfect.
Actually, maybe what about the size of the squares? Why is that not one of the sliders?
Why we didn't make the slider for the size?
Yeah.
Let's add it. I don't know. And add slider for the size. To change the size from 1 pixel to I think 5 pixel with 5 pixel step. Let's see if it will handle half of the pixel thing, because not many things can handle it properly. What else do we want to do? Let's start for now and just let's see how it renders. I think something that I forgot now is to specify the canvas size. I think it's quite important to set, some margins for it, but let's see how it will deal with it. Maybe we will reprompt it. Also, many times I'm just like, I can really copy it and create a new chat. It's just like sometimes easier to kind of pick it up from somewhere. Okay, so we have, I wouldn't necessarily call them squares. It kind of added the roundings and did it unevenly, if you can see it.
Huh.
It's kind of weird. It's okay, we can work with this. So let's right now add a couple of things. So first of all, I actually like how it created title and kind of canvas. I think in my original design, when I was doing this, I specified the canvas size and it created it a little bit more uglier. I feel like this one is already better. So let's now try to add some animation. So how I think about animation is that if you don't want to animate using gradient, which is going to be like, black, then white, then black, and, different opacities of it, I wanted animation to appear in these blobs, right? And in order to get those blobs, I use the noise mask. Again, this is the concept that came to me from 3D design. It's not new, it's very old, but there are different ways of inputting colors in uneven fashion, in non-linear or non-radial fashion. Because if I would put gradient here on top of it, for example, using radial or angular or linear gradient colors, you would immediately spot the fakeness of it. You would feel like, oh, it's actually just a gradient on top of it, right? I might do it, but I don't want to spoil the code right now. What I did here is I actually introduced noise type, and I said that please color the all of the squares according to the noise type, and then give me control over noise scale, because noise scale allows you to get from this view where you can see like all of the things are very small, and towards this thing where it's actually quite big, and one of the things that we actually can learn from Atio, I think they're either using some complex JS here or like not really like easy to understand JS. But first of all, they do the rotation of the colors, and then they have some kind of randomization of each square. So how I would approach it, I would either put the random point on top of each square, and I would basically say like, hey, right now, please put the random thing on top of each square and make it rotate each 2 seconds with random chance of 50% or something like that. But I don't like that approach for exploration purposes, because again, it makes it too complex. It basically makes it render each square, and granularity becomes actually quite hard to manage, because then I probably think they have multiple kind of logics for each square. So again, how I use it, I just put my mouse cursor over one of the squares and I see how it behaves over a minute. And it's one of the ways to actually reverse engineer, like how it actually works for me, how they did it, what are the changes. You can see it sometimes blinking. So I feel like there are a couple of random timings that are working, plus some kind of, probably noise applied to all of this. So what I will do right now, I'll probably say, okay, I want to animate the squares on the grid. I want to animate them according to the noise applied. I want to use multiple noise types, and let's mention them. No, let's let it surprise us. I want to noise to impact their color, and have a control over 2 colors. I want to manage the noise scale. I want to manage the noise animation. Give me a slider. Give me a slider. Let's see if it will handle this. Do you have any questions for now?
No. All pretty straightforward. It's cool to see someone else prompt. Like these live streams are how I learned how to prompt. So it's the best.
Well, don't learn yet. Let it render, and then just maybe you have to forget what I was just saying. Okay. So I think the reason it doesn't show right now is because let's change.
It could be a client-side error.
No. It's usually some of my. It happened last time. It was one of the properties that are actually hiding it. Let's punish our AI. Hey, it doesn't show anything. Maybe some properties. Let's be very human. Let's apply very human prompt to it.
Nice. We got our first comment from Char Styles. I tried using Replit to make a Three.js sketch, and it couldn't even import Three.js correctly. I feel very validated because I always have trouble with that part. I feel embarrassed by that. Well, thanks for sharing. I see, using prompts. So the same thing, but in Replit. I didn't know it would come up on screen. Yeah, so I can see all the comments, and then I can like selectively press on them and talk about you. So if you comment on this video, you are implicitly agreeing to being talked about. Hope you're okay with that.
So when I asked it to debug it, it just reverted all of the changes, which I didn't ask for. So, but I continue to try my managerial skills to AI. So I'm just saying, yeah, you missed something. Let's see if it will do.
Interesting. Okay. There is anyways.
Okay. Yeah. See, it's like you just have to shout sometimes. Okay, so we have different noises. Noises, by the way, it's amazing tool. It allows you to apply color in non-regular, how should I say it, non-regular, like geometric way. It kind of makes, like, imagine, I always imagine it again from the 3D. Like, you imagine the landscape and imagine that you, for example, go into town, and each hill that you're like going higher, the color begins to kind of to fade, to begin a little bit to start to make it like less saturated. But every kind of dip that you have in the city is actually like darker. So you can see here that it kind of have this scale, the noise, right? And these are the dips and these are the hills. So you can actually change the map of your city to change to impact the colors, and you can already see that you would never be able to apply this scheme to how is it called, to gradient. Like you can't come up with gradient that would come up with this type of shade of colors, right?
Yes.
There are different ways, different noise types. Usually, there are like they might go in different directions. So they might go only, like, for example, only vertically and horizontally, which I think is what it means 2D. There might be 3D where, for example, noise might be like, also move like X and Y. So I'm not sure. I don't like this animation because it's kind of like a little bit jittery. It also, weirdly, I didn't prompt it, but it started impacting my size of squares, and it somehow uses a lot of my memory. Like, I feel like my computer is noticeably slower right now, and I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
Let's see if it's 2D. Doesn't show anything. One thing that I love to put is, of course, my favorite colors to it. For this type of animations, I quite like bright orange and dark purple. The reason is because they're quite complementary and they really give like nice contrast between them. I will probably just kill the animation. No, I will redo it. Can you redo animation to make it more visible? But also, I don't know how it will get to it. I don't know if it will really try. Maybe it will try to rewrite it, maybe not. I'm okay coming. By the way, if I want to come back for one version, how should I revert?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I will always be able to revert.
So
Yeah.
revert. So why don't you click the revert button? I feel like it's misnamed. It's the revert button will just take you to the other version to view it, and then you have to press revert again to actually do it. Huh? What do you think? Is it better?
I think it just dropped FPS for me.
Interesting.
But it's like, again, it does weird thing where it kind of gives, it kind of makes the squares smaller and like I didn't ask for it, but it's fine. We can work with this. Let's try. Let's see what it writes. I rarely read it.
Yeah.
But the animation now updates every 100. Yeah, I noticed. Thank you. It looks like shit. Okay, let's make it high FPS. I don't know. Let's make 60.
Yeah, I wonder if you could like record, like if you like as a programmer, you would record a profile of like the performance, like a heat map of like what the computer's doing under the hood to try and get a sense of like what's slow to make it faster.
Yeah, I'm not that type of designer. Sorry. I'm like, I feel like my mouse is getting slower, and I'm like, I know it consumes resources, and well, it's probably like the animations that I personally asked it to do. So But
Yeah.
yeah, I know that the way you describe it is actually a proper one, and I'm just like faking it here. But like, okay, I think it moves so fast that it actually confuses the. Okay, when I set. Okay, let's move forward because we can play with this forever. One thing that I want to do is like, first of all, when I select 2D noise type, it doesn't move. Fix it. When I want more types of noise, come up with extra 5.1. So there are multiple ways to multiple noises, and they're all based either on some kind of random pattern or some kind of mathematical patterns and some kind of randomization patterns. There are kind of, for example, some Voronoi type, which looks kind of interesting. I just ask it to come up with extra 5. Like in my original design, you can see that it was using simplex just to try to cut the corners. Let's make it like make sure to include simplex as one of them. Really as one of them. I didn't know about simplex, by the way, so it surprised me in a good way. And then how I did this kind of to make it more magic. Right now, you can see that it's grid, so it's not really exciting. But what I can do is I basically use my Figma knowledge now, not really the 3D one, is to apply a mask. And in order to apply a mask, I will kind of come back here and kind of display what I mean by that. But what it did actually do, we apply the mask, which is basically a circle, right? And in this circle, something is happening. Right now, simplex 2D is just running like, in one direction here. So we have this mask, which is circle. But it doesn't look very nice because you feel like these shapes are very kind of, it's very kind of exact, abrupt shape. So then I want to blur the mask, which gives this, very magic feeling of, I don't know where it starts, I don't know where it ends. So you don't actually see it, especially if you will come with really great blur.
Could you zoom in like a bunch of times? I feel like
Sorry.
No, it's good.
Yeah, so I will probably do it like this. You want to kind of see these rectangles, and I want that, I would see like a little bit of the edge of the next rectangle. So, like for example, half of it. In this way, it will kind of keep this illusion of where it ends and where it starts a little bit better. I also don't want to crank it up to the top because it will reveal all of the all of the sides the same as this will do. So I try to bring it to some kind of level where I'm not sure even if it's a circle. So here, for example, in this case, you doubt that it's a circle because you don't see any kind of any you only after looking at it for a long time you can see, oh, it probably starts here and here. But even right now you can put your mouse on one of the squares and they sometimes disappear, sometimes not. Sometimes to support this illusion, you can actually delete one of the colors. So I just put something as white, and right now you almost don't see a circle in it. You feel like you see a lot of stuff, but you don't see a circle.
Huh.
And there are many ways how you can kind of play with this. Again, you can kind of make it almost like Atio did. See, right now it's like it resembles it a little bit more because I basically minimized the noise so much that it has a lot of hills and a lot of dips. So right now it feels like, oh, I don't know, I don't even see it. Like it's very hard to replicate this with simple gradients, and it kind of immediately gives you this experience. In my in the way I coded it for the tweet, again, I was hacking with the colors that I like, which I feel like are quite good for this type of things. Let me kind of quickly redo it. I was doing faster speed. I was doing like a little bit bigger thing. and I was trying to do it like this. So right now we have this orb that is kind of thinking. It kind of gives the shape of the round, and then we can actually manipulate the amount of animation that we have per it. And then using noise scale, we can do it either randomized as we saw on Atio, or actually make it, like a simple blur that happens. We can take the same knowledge here and try to say like, okay, I want to mask the grid with with the circle. So everything that is on top of that circle is visible, and everything that is not above it is hidden. I also want to have a slider to manage circles size and blur. Blur allows us to have this kind of rough shape, like not rough shapes, but actually like blurred softer shapes around it. Let's see how it will deal with this complexity.
Yeah, it's a lot. I feel like this is kind of embarrassing, but I feel like in the term mask, like in Figma,
Yeah.
I've never really known what a mask is, but it's like it's a cutout.
So you have a square, you have a circle, you make your circle.
Are you showing something?
Oh yeah, sorry. Can I share my other screen?
Yeah.
I'll be quick. Don't worry.
Great.
So remove mask. So we have a square. For example, it's red, and then we have a circle. So we want that we would always see the parts of the square that overlaps with circle. So if we will create a mask out of circle, we see that we don't see the square. But if we will hover the circle in this area, you can see that right now we can reveal the square, whenever the circle overlaps it. So it's kind of the logic. If circle is there and rectangle is there, you can see it. But if circle goes away, you don't see it. So it's a way to actually come up with interesting graphics or cases, because you sometimes want, for example, you can actually use multiple masks over time, and you can I think I have to create a new mask. So right now you can actually say the logic is I need two masks. Like whatever happen, I only want to see whatever whenever one circle, two circle, and three and rectangle are all overlapping. And it allows you to create some shapes that are geometrically correct, because it's basically two circles. So you know that this, for example, this shape is very correct. But it's also like you can always go back to the very bottom of it and change them independently. So you can change everything geometrically. You can put some pictures on top of it. You can kind of play with some gradients on top of it. So again, if we right now change the color of the square, it will actually change the color of overlapping things. So the only kind of downsides in Figma is that it's actually different from what Sketch and Photoshop were using, as far as I remember. In Figma, you can't have a color of a mask. But usually in other software, and I think in CSS as well, your mask also has a color. So in Figma, what you usually do, you just create another shape and you color it in different color. But in Figma, suddenly they made it so only masks don't have color by default, which I feel like everyone is asking them to change it for the last 10 years, and they're still adamant that they don't want to do this. Anyways, okay, we're getting to somewhere.
Oh, yes, just unshare and reshare.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
Share screen. Okay, we're getting somewhere. We have animated circle. it still has some things that I didn't ask. It added multiple noise types, as we see. So we can actually play with different noise types, and we can see how different they are. We have fractals, we have turbulence. Turbulence is quite nice, actually, because it has like softer changes. Reached, nice. So what we want to do, oh, it does weird thing. See? Love it. Exactly what I asked. Which is also interesting effect. What we can do actually, if I want to play from it. I don't want to recreate the thing because I think it's easy to decode right now what it want to do. I want to try other thing. I want to add blending mode to the circle to make all colors beneath it more vibrant. I think that one will open interesting case where, again, blending modes are not widely used in design. It was a lot of they used it in the old type of like design. Right now it's a little bit harder to maintain because they're inconsistent between different platforms and web browsers and stuff. But you can get really interesting like properties where you can ask blending mode, for example, to switch between like fully grayscale or sepia, or include the saturation of all colors underneath. So you're again designing something not statically, where you can say like, oh, I want it to be RGB, like, you know, FFF. You're actually saying like, whenever you show me a color, always multiply that color by some other property. For example, by saturation or by hue or something. So here we can see that, for example, if we would say color circle, let's select something like more vibrant to see the result of it. Simplex 3D. I think you know why it might be slow. It's because I'm sharing the screen. I kind of realize that it's not always the computer's fault. It's sometimes browser's fault. But like, anyways. So and now we can actually apply different blending modes, which doesn't seem to do anything because we don't have control over circle color. So right now, in order to see the changes, we have to apply like, give me a control over circle color. So my blending modes would have effect, and let's, in the fashion you should have come up with it yourself. Yeah, so basically what blending modes mean is that, for example, you have really, let me see if I have a picture. For example, I have this picture that I took in New York.
We can't see it. Maybe drag it into your browser.
Yeah, sure. Let me, because while it's loading. See, I want to share my whole screen. Sorry.
Go for it.
I'm just jumping between different things, and I feel like it's so much more useful when it's like, you know, you can see how I think. So we have my photo of San Francisco. I took it with my already outdated phone, which is 15. And what we can do is, for example, we can say that, look, I want to create like some effect where this circle in the middle between the buildings, I wanted to invert the colors in it. So one way to do it is we can actually use these blending modes to apply interesting effects. So again, it comes from older types of designs where you can actually apply physical like filters on it. So we can, for example, color certain areas of picture, and how it works mathematically. It basically takes each pixel underneath and then multiplies it. See the function multiply, it multiplies of the color selected. So right now I can, for example, if I would apply some dynamic color for it, for example, the blue one, it will multiply. Like if I would took the, the color picker, you would see that it's basically, you can actually calculate it, that it's like the previous color multiplied by this one, and this is the result between them. But you can also give like different stylings and different ways of it. It kind of acts differently. There are some interesting fields where, for example, it says like difference. Basically, difference is I don't know the exact math between it, but it's like it calculates the pixel behind it. It calculates the pixel of this bar, and then it calculates the opposite of it. So you can see that it kind of like amplifies it right now. I think I use mostly like where is inversion? I think is difference was inversion for this. But I will just show you what does saturation. You can see how ugly it is. Basically, it says like, okay, we have HSL here, right? So we have saturation, hue, saturation, lightness. So because we're working with our saturation thing, it will take every pixel behind it and it will apply the maximum saturation to it because the circle is set to 100. So we can actually reduce it, and we can only apply like a little bit of saturation over time. So we can see that there were a little bit of a green hue, but whenever we apply it, it actually pumps up, to the maximum of possible color around it. And if we pump it to 100, it actually gives this kind of thing. In web design, sometimes you can use the same thing. For example, you want to use multiply, and you want to oh, wow. Okay. Wait a second. Does it really try? Yeah, you can see that it actually changes the color of the elements.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's what you get with with non-granular controls. I mean, again,
wait, how is it even doing that with CSS?
Yeah, I think it's like it applied the circle on top of our canvas. So instead of targeting this one, it just said, okay, I will kind of apply it on top of it, and there was probably like some absolute, like, some absolute. Let's even try to find it. Yeah. But you can see how interesting it is to experiment with this. So right now we can change the styles of our of our interface. So we can actually probably select.
Oh man, yeah, make the
And
whole.
we can. Do you see the sliders are becoming different colors?
Yeah.
Basically, like applies it in different ways. So we can multiply. Oh no, multiply doesn't work like this. Screen. Yeah, very useless, and it still doesn't do anything to here to what we were intending. Dude, let's see how it will. Yeah, it actually it understood exactly my sentiment here.
Wow, it totally got it.
Look, and it actually understood the problem.
The circular mask and blending overlay are two separate concepts that I mistakenly conflated. No, I don't know if it conflated them. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But it did get that, like, you're upset at it and like it made a mistake, and it's like going to try and fix it.
Yeah. Yeah, it still applies the colors everywhere.
That's funny.
It's okay.
You can say who does it?
Well, yeah, who acts like that? Sorry, my English is also bad, so we are having like where I'm having fun with AI. It's just like it's very smart and I'm not, and we're just trying to find the middle ground.
Lovely. Yeah, it's fun to watch you prompt it. Have you been into AI for a while? You've been doing this, or is this new?
No, I've been trying different things. I think my first I think in 2016 I first came across some first models that were more like non-deterministic things, where it was like easier. It was interesting to realize that I was always thinking about it as a fuzzy search, to be honest, rather than real kind of AI that you can chat with. And I feel like back then it was that. It was basically, look, if you don't find exactly something that you're looking for, maybe there should be some similarities, and we can auto-complete something like based on what we know from our kind of model or database. I know the fuzzy search actually works without AI, but like back then, there were some applications that I saw that were using it just exactly in this way. So, for example, for photos or some very, very early models. Okay, we can see the blur. We can multiply the color. Let's try to. Okay. Yeah,
Cool.
we did
That's
it.
awesome. Yeah, that's really cool.
Let's try to play with colors again. I will remove some of the colors, but then I will add another one. Let's add this kind of newish green, and then something that I like about the Figma is that they recently released is that whenever you hover on things, you can preview it.
Yeah,
And
it's so good.
you appreciate the software because they didn't have it for like 8 years or something. And right now, when you're using something that you're writing yourself like this, and you're like, it doesn't show, I hate it, makes me click 8 times. But you can yeah.
It might be able to. I don't know the limitations of HTML input boxes.
No, I can do it. It's just like it just makes me think how many design changes are invisible, how they really impact.
Yeah,
By the way, I really like how this came out. And I have a confession. I don't know why the borders are glowing. Like, I know that I like how it looks like, but like, I don't see a logic why out of all of these blending modes, color dodge makes it glow.
Is it related to the blur? No, interesting. Whoa.
Okay, it gives a little bit of sense. Okay, and it only appears when it has like 100%. Yeah. We invented the sun. And it's like, it shouldn't be even like the... Okay, so we can actually rotate the colors. I like this one. It looks like Bubble from Windows Vista.
Yes.
But it animates, but you don't see it because it's magic. Because I actually did hide all of the things. Oh, wow. Look at this. Basically, what I think here is happening, if you see it, it's not the artifact on your computer. I think it overburns some of the edges of the color, that it basically doesn't understand how to show it in this kind of microscopic change of things. So it kind of overburns with these artifacts.
Huh.
You can see it on the bottom and on the sides.
Yeah. Wild.
Yeah. Oh no, I broke it. Give it back.
Oh,
perfect.
man.
Yeah, see, it was very intentional. I wanted us to get here. Totally what I planned.
Have you played with shaders? This reminds me of shaders. I get a lot of visual artifacts,
Yeah,
aliasing, anti-aliasing.
it's above my mental capacities. I tried reading the Book of Shaders 5 times. Like I never, like it's above me. I'd rather look, if someone in the audience works with shaders and wants to play with similar things. I'm actually hiring right now for a
Mm.
project that might benefit from shaders, and especially very system efficient shaders, so something that we can really animate in interesting ways.
Oh,
So if someone is doing the jobs like that, want to experiment, yeah.
someone watching the video, I don't know if you could see Char. I put her comment on the screen. She apparently she knows shaders, so I'll
Write me.
connect you guys after the video.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm hiring people who are doing interesting visual stuff in code all the time, and I feel like it's a very needed thing right now. And I can't do many things myself, so I'm kind of rely on AI and some kind of weird experiments. But if anyone have any kind of edge or knowledge, or wants to play with things, wants to try, wants to experiment, I would be happy to kind of to collaborate and see how we can make it like interesting for all sides.
Awesome. We have like 10 minutes left. We
Yeah.
had one idea of like adding authentication and like permissions to this. That was like one of your questions from before we started
Yeah.
streaming. We can go another direction. What are you thinking?
I don't know. Can we do it in 10 minutes?
Yeah. Because I've done it before.
Let's do it. What I want to do is probably like the way I see it, the simplest way. But please edit my thinking if I will try to reverse engineer. So I want, like, this is a set of properties, right? Selected. I want so people would put their email. It would remember their set of properties, and then if they would ever come back later and put their email, the set of properties will remain.
All right. I think we can do it in 10 minutes, but we can move fast. All right. So the first thing I will do, let me send you in the chat for the stream. Like we have a private chat, so let me send you this link. It's called Last Login. It's this authentication helper that I made for Valtown, and the instructions, like the how to set up instructions, were written for LLMs, so you can just copy. Yep, that. So copy that, and then before you hit enter, like say that other stuff you said before, like add in.
I think it didn't import the numbers. Is it vital to have them?
Yeah, that's annoying. I should make a note of that.
User, like, should we add save button to this then, or will it figure out?
You could tell it to save like after 5 seconds 5 seconds after the last change, or 1 second after the last change. So I think maybe one thing you could say is if the user doesn't log in, then don't save anything. If the user's logged in, save their settings to their account 1 second.
Okay. Anything else I should mention?
Let users use it without logging in, and just don't save. Logging in. Cool. And then we'll let it go. Who knows? Maybe we'll get it on the first go.
YOLO.
So This one actually uses it uses this authentication provider called Last Login, and it's a little like random looking, but yeah. This interesting. It's supposed to be a video. I wonder why
No,
it's
no,
not.
I think it's a GIF that starts and ends.
Oh, I see.
Like if I open it, see it plays, but
I
then
see.
it doesn't play for some time.
Yes, you can log in with your Google account. You can log in with an email, and then it passes that email over to the app. So
Interesting. Where does it store the email then?
in your database, in your Valtown's account database. So every Valtown.
Oh, every Wildtown has its own database.
Yikes! I worry that it. Anyway, I think what I saw happen is if you go into code, I think I saw like everything here is the same. Just
How
click on
should I
the
get?
top in the top right corner. There's code.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if you scroll, yes, everything remains the same. So just reply with full working code. Yeah.
Why you thought why you saw that it doesn't work like that? What was
This
wrong?
is LLMs will often, when you ask LLMs to change something and they see it's like it's a small change, but there's like a big chunks that stay the same. For brevity, they'll say like, like a human would, like everything else here is the same, everything here is the same, but we don't know what to do with that. Like Valtown, the platform doesn't know what to do with that, so we just run the code, and then we don't have those big pieces. So, yeah, this is something we're trying to work through. I just messaged one of our guys who's working through this. Yeah, we try to prompt it to always reply with full working code, but sometimes it doesn't. All right, I'm really excited.
Me too. Okay. So let's imagine this. Yeah.
So just open it in a new tab. I think you might need to do that. Yeah, great, cool. So yeah, say again. Oh yeah, why don't you change some of the settings? Or actually, yeah, it doesn't matter. We'll figure it out. I don't know if it'll save them now, but whatever.
Let's test it. I'm okay. Should I use? Will it use?
Google. Yeah, Google probably faster. All right, then press the button. Yeah.
I thought it's impossible to connect Google. You authorize your Val organization, and then it kind of goes to your database all the time, or what does it
Excellent. It's a great question. Why don't we first test it out? Zoom in like 5 times, and then let's test it out. Like let's change it to something that you'll recognize, and then refresh the page, and then wait a second for it to save, and then refresh the page. All right. I hope it works.
Refreshing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, can it get? But was it probably a cache or something, or do we want to try it on anonymous tab, or we know that?
Yeah. No, you try an anonymous tab. I'm pretty sure it worked.
Oh no, it will require my Google sign in, and I have horrible experience with it on anonymous.
You can just do it with your email.
Oh, no,
it'll work the same.
Oh, okay. Let's try it.
Yeah.
Login.
You just have to put the same exact email.
Yeah, I did it.
Ooh, this is cool. Yeah, so if you hit that button, then you could scan. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, forget about this. This is kind of a weird. Then you have to log in on your phone, which you could do. You could log in with Google.
I'm already doing this. Let's see if it does it.
Okay.
No, it does. No, it's actually. Wait a second. This is so cool. This was actually a very blocking thing for me. I didn't know if I can do that. And right now you showed it to me, and right now I kind of many things in my mind and blocks. Yeah, perfect. It's saved. Fantastic. This is actually fantastic. But it's not like really, I don't own this data because I basically connected to your organization, right? As a
Uh, you own a lot of the data. So
okay.
let's see. So first, let me describe last login. Last login is this. You can go to lastlogin.io in your browser to see. Last login is this like really cool project. I'm DMing with the founder of it now. He's it's this open identity provider, and the whole point of it is that nobody like registering an OAuth application with Google is super lame. Nobody wants to do it. And so the way it works is he does all of that stuff. And then all he does is like this OAuth credential handshake with your app. And he sends over the email address. It's a little hard to explain, but the short answer is I don't have a relationship with Google. You don't have a relationship with Google. He has a relationship with Google. And then once you authenticate to Google, Google sends a thing to him, and then he forwards that on to your server, your Valtown server. So,
Okay.
and then in your database, you store the username and you store sessions and all. So your Valtown database has all the information it would need.
Okay. My brain is braining what I can do with this. I'll probably need to kind of probably ask you more questions about it, but probably next time.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, sounds good. Well, thank you again so much for coming on. This was really fun. I learned a lot. Maybe you learned a little thing about Valtown, and hopefully everyone watching learned some stuff too. So thanks again.
Thank you so much. Yeah. See ya. Bye-bye.
See ya.